begin this hour with Ghislaine Maxwell, who is now a convicted sex trafficker and may spend the rest of her life in prison. After deliberating for 5 days, a jury in New York City found Maxwell guilty of 5 of the 6 charges against her. They include sex trafficking of a minor, transporting a minor with intent to engage in criminal sexual activity, and 3 counts of conspiracy, all in connection with her friend and companion, Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell's lawyers say they'll appeal. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams praised the verdict.
I want to commend the bravery of the girls, now grown women, who stepped out of the shadows and into the courtroom.
Maxwell, who turned 60 on Christmas Day, is also awaiting trial on perjury charges. A sentencing date has not yet been set.
One of Epstein and Maxwell's many accusers who was not part of this criminal case is with us. Sarah Ransome says she was recruited into Epstein's sex trafficking ring in 2006 when she was 22 years old. Ransome tells her story in the book Silence No More, Surviving My Journey to Hell and Back. She settled a civil suit against Epstein and Maxwell in 2018. Sarah Ransome is with us this morning. Sarah, thank you so much. You are truly a survivor. Do you feel vindicated this morning?
I do feel vindicated. And, I feel completely overwhelmed for a start. And I never thought this day would ever happen. And for me, it's really important to thank the prosecutors and to thank the 4 incredibly brave, beautiful women that testified. Because without them, without their truth, we would never have got Ghislaine behind bars. We would never have had this verdict. So, yes, this is justice, but this is just the beginning.
I have to imagine, with feeling that way, there is a long road ahead now because there are others potentially involved here. I do want to go back to what you said for a second about those 4 women who testified. You said in an interview with one of our colleagues, Gayle King, earlier when she interviewed you, that you said that justice for you would mean that she spends her life behind bars. Does that seem like a real possibility now?
I mean, just the mere thought of that, it's so mind-boggling. It still hasn't dawned on me that justice has finally been served. It's been such a long, hard journey to get here. So yesterday's decision, I think, will take a little while to sink in. But the thought of Ghislaine spending the rest of her life behind bars, you must understand, she destroyed so many hundreds, if not thousands, of other women, young women and children. So I'm pleased that she'll never be out again, ever, to hurt anybody else. And for that, I feel very pleased.
And that's when it really was because of those 4 women who testified, a big chunk of this. You said in 2017, you sued Epstein and Maxwell, settled with them for an undisclosed amount of money. You have said in the past that you wish that you had had your day in court. How do you feel now?
Well, I sort of did have my day in court. These brave women gave me my day in court, and that's why it was so important for me to be there in New York during the trial. And I got that moment with Ghislaine on closing arguments. I sat a row behind Ghislaine's family, and I had that eye connection with Ghislaine. And I'll never forget when she forced me into a room to be raped by Jeffrey and the way she smiled. And now Ghislaine will remember that look when I sat behind her family for the rest of her life. And it's just a wonderful feeling.
Was it hard for you to be in court?
I was terrified. I think of myself as brave and strong. And I remember the morning before I was finally able to get into the main courtroom. And I was terrified. But then, when I sat there and saw her for what she really is, she looked pathetic, absolutely pathetic. And it was worth every single dollar I spent being in New York. And it will be a moment I will treasure for the rest of my life. It was worth every moment.
It sounds like a very powerful moment for you. In your mind, do you feel she's worse than Epstein?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Women are supposed to look after each other. Human beings are supposed to look after each other. And because she was a woman, she normalized abuse. She participated. She tortured me and others. And she's worse than Jeffrey. She broke the sisterhood. She broke that bond. She was supposed to be a protector and nurturer, and she failed us. And she'll have to live with that for the rest of her life.
Sarah, I can only imagine how hard this is for you. And in the past, you've talked about victim shaming. And there was a lot of victim shaming for years when talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you feel that talking about this today, hearing this verdict, writing your book, do you feel like it's part of your healing process?
I am a completely different woman from when I started writing the book to the woman I am now. The book for me was not only about my personal growth, it was about me taking responsibilities for some of the mistakes I've made. And I've been called every single name under the sun. I mean, you name it, I've been called it. And you know what? It's actually made me unbreakable. And that was the reason why I wrote the book. Because yes, I've made so many mistakes. I'm a human being who doesn't. I don't go out harming anybody. The only person I harmed was myself. But it doesn't mean that I'm not a victim of rape or sex trafficking. So, you know, the victim shaming needs to stop. And I hope that my book has in some way paved the way for other victims to go, you know what? It doesn't matter if I did this or that. I'm still a victim. I still deserve a voice. I still deserve to be heard. And my book, you know, I just want, if I can do anything, is to just say, don't be silenced. Silence no more. You know, we are in a new era. You know, this case with Ghislaine is absolutely groundbreaking. This is history making. And I think, you know, this is an example that, you know, the powerful, the wealthy, you can't behave like this. You will eventually be stopped. And I hope people think really long and hard next time they want to hurt another human being.
Sarah, so many important messages in what you're talking about this morning. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.